Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to our another live stream on our YouTube channel. Today, we're covering something that might surprise you. Getting a second citizenship or passport doesn't require you to be a billionaire, not even close. You don't need to be Elon Musk to secure a Plan B passport. Maybe hundreds or thousands of years ago, acquiring citizenship in another jurisdiction was reserved for the elite. Think ancient Greece, where during the Argos Corinth Union in 392 to 386 BC, dual citizenship first emerged between Greek city states. Rome later created the concept of layering Roman civitas on top of local citizenships. Those were the first signs back in the day, but that's ancient history, literally. Today in 2025 and 2026, you can sit in your living room, upload documents online, maybe even do an interview online with that jurisdiction within 60 to 110 days, depending, receive your second or even third residency or citizenship. We're talking about programs starting as low as $90,000. Yes, $90,000 for a legitimate second passport, folks. This is unedited, uncensored, no special effects, not that I can see of, just the raw truth about the lowest cost and viable citizenship options available right now. Updated. Their real long-term value and the critical threats facing some of these programs in 2026. Let's dive in. And everyone, I will answer your questions and comments after this little presentation. Somvir, I see you there. No problem. Yes, folks, it is live, so we will have comments and questions there. Let's talk about why second citizenship matters more than ever in 2025 and 2026. Traditional concepts of home and quote unquote nationality are evolving rapidly. We're living in what's being called the portfolio citizenship era, where having multiple passports is no longer just for diplomats or the ultra wealthy. It's a practical strategy for middle class professionals, entrepreneurs, and any kind of family. The citizenship by investment industry has grown into a $22 billion annual market as of 2025, with the broader golden visa market adding another $30 billion. That's a combined value of $50 billion industry that's projected to continue growing despite increased regulatory scrutiny and government pressure. Beyond just travel freedom, here's what second citizenship really offers: financial security and tax optimization. Many CBI or citizenship by investment countries offer territorial tax systems, meaning you only pay tax on income earned within that country that you become a resident or tax citizen of. Countries like Panama, Nauru, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Grenada have zero personal income tax, zero wealth tax, zero inheritance tax, and zero capital gains tax for most foreign sourced income. Political insurance. That's another reason. Why are people looking for these alternatives? In 2024 alone, we saw record numbers of Americans renouncing citizenship, 2,123 to be exact, by people in third quarter 2024, the highest quarterly total since 2016 of one quarter of that many Americans renouncing their citizenship. Political instability, whether real or perceived, drives people to secure backup options. And of course, the taxation for Americans is huge, but everyone has their own reason. Malta was the flavor of the day back in 2024 when their citizenship investment program was still active and open. And that's where most Americans went, probably 98%. But in 2025, those options have been eliminated due to government issues and the EU courts. Although Serbia is the next option most Americans are not going for. And then we've got Argentina coming up next year as well. Generational wealth transfer. That's another reason. Most citizenship programs allow you to include not just your spouse and children, but in some cases, grandchildren, parents, and even single financially dependent siblings. This means the investment benefits multiple generations, not just you. Business expansion opportunities, access new markets, new banking system, a new financial footprint, maybe in another jurisdiction, and international business structures that might otherwise be restricted. And plan B for uncertain times, another reason. Whether it's pandemic-related travel restrictions, civil unrest, or economic collapse, having a second passport is like having an insurance policy that never expires. Or if it expires, you're renewing it with the embassy, of course. Now, let's debunk the biggest myth that citizenship is the only for ultra rich. That was maybe true 10, 15 years ago, folks. Not anymore. Top low-cost direct citizenship programs. Let's talk about Nauru. $105,000, launched in January 2025. Nauru's Economic and Climate Resilience Citizenship Program launched January 21st, 2025, positioning itself as the Pacific's most affordable option. Single applicant donates $105,000. Family pricing can be adjusted. You can include parents, children up to the age of 30 if they're single and financially independent. Processing, 90 days. My God, 90 days. That's like faster than getting a mortgage these days. Visa-free access, 88 countries, including UK, UAE, Hong Kong, Singapore, and many more. No Schengen, but that's why the price has been discounted. Notably, excludes the EU, of course. Unique positioning. This program explicitly funds climate adaptation projects launched by the COP29 with emphasis on transparency by the island. Nauru learned from its controversial passport sales program in 1998 to 2003, if you didn't know this, and has implemented strict due diligence from inception. So if you didn't know this, they did have a passport program back in the day, 26, 7 years ago. The reality check. Nauru offers better global mobility than São Tomé. Okay. So we're talking about 88 countries versus like 60, 70 countries, particularly strong Asia-Pacific access. However, the lack of EU access is a significant limitation, although you can combine it with an EU residency and you get the best of both worlds. This program is best for investors focused on Asian markets, UK access, tax-free nationality, and quick, affordable passport without all that political pressure from EU and US. That's key. And Nauru accepts many applicants from all around the world. They have very good political neutrality and international positioning, making it very, let's say, appealing. Let's look at the number 2 affordability. Sào Tomé and Príncipe, $90,000. Launched August 2025. This is one of the newest kids on the block in terms of CBI programs, right? It's basically they launched one of the cheapest programs out there. Single applicant, 90,000 donation to the National Transformation Fund of this ex-Portuguese colony in West Africa. Married couple, 100,000. Family of 415,000. Additional fees is 5,000 application fees, $350 per passport, per person's passport, $150 for national ID, $250 for registration certificate per person, and plus minimal legal fee. Processing time, 6 weeks. Wow, 6 weeks. That's officially one of the fastest programs globally available that has not had a, let's say, backlash politically like Vanuatu. What you get with São Tomé, visa-free access to about 74 countries, strong access to African nations. You get that special access as an ex-colony of Portugal to be able to apply for specific work visas or study visas, but through a specific pathway in Portugal. Dual citizenship is permitted, no residency requirements, no interview, and interesting enough, no police check. So if you just came out of jail, this one is for you. No, I'm just kidding. The investment purpose. Well, your donations funds are legally earmarked for 13 specific development projects in the country: renewable energy, deep water port construction, airport modernization, sustainable urban development, healthcare, education, and ecotourism. Everything and anything a politician was able to list within 5 minutes. The program operates through a Citizenship Investment Unit. It's headquartered in Dubai, interesting enough, not São Tomé itself. This makes it highly accessible and become more international to be connected to the rest of the world. Here's the catch. It's the global mobility isn't really there. Mainly African countries, a bunch of here, Middle Eastern and Asian countries. If you need strong EU access, this is not going to be your first choice. But the price point is an excellent portfolio addition and offers exceptional value for African business connections. So let's look at the next citizenship affordable programs, the Caribbean 5. But there's a problem. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. The Caribbean programs are under serious threat. The 5 Caribbean nations, Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts, Nevis, and St. Lucia, have been the gold standard for affordable and standardized citizenship by investment programs since the 1980s. Wow, that's a long time. As of mid-2024, the price ranges were 100 to 150,000. Then a memorandum of agreement came up, and everyone had to push it over to closer to $250,000. What they offer? 3 to 6 months. Not really 3 months. We see more about a 4.5 month processing time for the fastest ones, like Grenada and St. Kitts Nevis. St. Lucia, Antigua are definitely on the higher processing times, anywhere from 12 to 15 months. Visa-free access, you've got 140 countries plus, including Schengen, UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, EU entirely. Zero income tax on foreign source income, family-friendly programs to allow your parents, single siblings and children and spouse and common law to join. However, here's the threat in 2026. In March 2025, the European Parliament Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice, and Home Affairs voted 41 to 10 with 21 abstentions to advance proposals that will allow the EU to suspend visa-free access for countries operating CBI programs. And what's happened is they voted in the fall again, in October, in the European Parliament, and now it's in the Council, and it will take effect with these new regulations either later this year or in early 2026. So they want to suspend visa waivers for any countries that grant citizenship without genuine links to the third country concerned in exchange for predetermined payments and investments. So CBI. So the Europeans have their eyes on the Caribbean. The precedent? This isn't hypothetical. Vanuatu had its EU visa-free access partially suspended in March 2022 and fully suspended in November 2024 for this exact same reason that now the EU is looking at the Caribbean islands. Okay? What's the response by the Caribbean islands? To their credit, these nations have implemented significant reforms that they're planning to roll out. Mandatory interviews for all applicants, which is already rolled out, enhanced due diligence with U.S. Treasury Department collaboration, suspension of Russian nationals. This had happened a long time ago, though Portugal and Bulgaria still accept them with enhanced checks back in Europe. Interesting. Proposed Eastern Caribbean CBI Regulatory Authority, which is being created, and draft agreement requiring 30 days of physical presence within the first 5 years of citizenship for anyone who purchases these passports. So it means in the first 5 years, you got to spend about 30 days vacationing on these islands. Not bad, but it's an extra cost. It takes time. If you're a businessman, sure, it's okay, but there's better options out there. The problem, despite these reforms, the EU views them as insufficient and continues pushing towards suspension. Reports indicate pricing irregularities and inconsistent oversight of these Caribbean CBI programs. This is a major concern for Brussels. U.S. pressure as well. In June 2025, the U.S. State Department indicated possible visa restrictions on some Caribbean nations, plus Cambodia, Egypt, and a whole bunch of, let's say, watch lists. The Trump administration has been vocal about requiring genuine ties between passport holders and issuing nations. What this means for investors. If you're considering Caribbean citizenship purely for EU access, which most people do, you need to understand the risk profile has fundamentally changed now, folks. These programs still offer tremendous value, but the pricing has not discounted this threat. Nauru has, São Tomé has, others have, Caribbeans have not. You still get some advantages with them. Tax optimization with the Caribbean islands, Caribbean regional mobility. Obviously, you get still access to a lot of countries. CARICOM free movement, which is part of the Caribbean Union. UK access for now, except Dominica. Asian market access, generational wealth transfer. But the EU access, historically a major selling point, could disappear in the next 12 to 24 months. Caribbean programs remain valuable if you understand they're no longer primarily about EU travel. They're about comprehensive backup citizenship, tax strategy, and Caribbean business opportunities. If EU access is critical to you, you need alternative strategies. Of course, if you've got a bigger budget, Serbia and Argentina is where it's at now, offering many of our clients as an alternative to Malta, but those are definitely higher budgets and not the topic of today's discussion. But let's talk about residency to citizenship. Why not them? If you're willing to wait 5 years or longer and accept minimal residency requirements, these programs offer exceptional long-term value that we're covering now. So these are not typical residencies. So they're residencies that lead to citizenship without actually living in that third country. And the value of that passport is significantly more than just going out and ordering it like a pizza, like in some of these jurisdictions. And that's why politicians don't like it. Okay, let's look at the Panama qualified investor visa, 200,000 in most cases. In my opinion, it's one of the most underrated programs in the world. And I'm not talking to you as a salesperson, as a YouTuber. I'm serious. And people are noticing. There's a lot of companies now, a lot of investors that are focusing on Panama because they've seen all these other doors being shut, Portugal extending citizenships, Caribbean island problems. Everyone is changing regulations. Canada's going down the drain. US wants to push up the EB5 prices. The world is going crazy, folks. Or maybe we are crazy already. Food for thought. Is Panama the next Portugal after Portugal extended its citizenship? That's the question. So you might think later on, a few years down the line, you'll be like, hey, I saw that somewhere on a YouTube channel. That's what it is. It's way beyond just another program. This is unique. Real estate investment, minimum 200,000 plus, depending on your profile. Stock market investment in Panama, 500,000, or fixed term bank deposit, 750,000. Folks, we can do a KYC 2 to 4 weeks with a Panamanian bank for you to put your money there. And then 60 days later, get your permanent residency, arrive, do your biometrics, get your national ID, get your PR card. Boom, you're done. And don't believe anyone who says they can be done in 30 days, the whole process. That's BS. The residency requirements, this is the key advantage. You need to visit Panama 1 day every 2 years. Can you do that? 1 day every 2 years? If that's asking too much, okay, switch to the cooking channel, please. But 1 day every 2 years? Which program, residency program out there offers that is on the American continent and has a legitimate passport? That's it. There you go. Path to citizenship. After 5 years of permanent residency, you can apply for citizenship, but you need to follow some requirements, like any citizenship anywhere in the world. You need to know a little bit basic of Spanish to conduct the interview. You need knowledge of the Panamanian history, geography, and civil rights. So it's a basic 20, I don't know how many questions there are, but there's questions, and we can provide those questions to you so you can study. You got to have ties to Panama. So we always recommend to spend a few months at the end of the process there to show that, you've got some ties there. I always recommend 4 months minimum at that 5 year mark to spend there before you submit. And of course, clean criminal record, no issues. Panama doesn't technically recognize dual citizenship, but doesn't actively monitor whether naturalized citizens renounce their other nationalities. In practice, many maintain both. Processing times, about 9 months processing time for citizenship after you submit it in Panama. What about the passport? Is it worth the wait? Visa-free access to about 156 countries, includes EU, Schengen, UK, Hong Kong, Singapore. Ranked 68th global passport in the world, most powerful. The financial benefits, territorial tax system, no tax on foreign source income or crypto, no wealth tax, no inheritance tax, asset protection laws in Panama, access to Panama's banking system with over 100 banks registered in that jurisdiction that you can open bank accounts with. A lot of free zones, strategic location between North America, Central and South America. And we're going to have more and more flights from Asia, and we've got already flights from Turkey, Spain, France, Netherlands, and of course the US and Canada. Real estate strategy, the $200,000 threshold was scheduled to increase to $500,000, but the government extended the lower threshold until at least October 2026. This creates a window of opportunity. La Vida and other agencies offer pre-approved real estate projects. There's a lot of developers that offer these projects. If you're not from a friendly nations visa, you may have to invest higher amounts, but for friendly nations visa, $200,000 investment in any of these residential office buildings, it doesn't matter what you invest in. We do have those relationships with developers that allow you to invest directly with the developer and obtain these. These are ready projects. We're not talking about off-plan here. This is ready to move in or ready to rent out, fully managed. Who's this perfect for? Mobile entrepreneurs who can visit once every 2 years. Investors who want Latin America and a base in the American continent with easy access to US and Canada. Business owners expanding into Central and South America. Families wanting a stable, tax-efficient jurisdiction, and anyone willing to invest time learning a little bit of basic Spanish by the 5-year mark. You also get a traveler passport with this program now. Let's look at the overlooked European options. You're basically, there's a lot of European programs everyone knows about, right? But Poland remains the stealth option. They don't offer a CBI program, but offers residency through business investment, starting out, incorporating a business, employment, and high-value specialist visa. The path to citizenship in Poland is 3 years. That's what people don't realize. It's actually one of the shortest citizenship timelines in all of the EU. It's crazy for those who can, prove some Polish heritage. But of course, if you don't have any ties to Polish heritage, you've got to be looking at the 10-year mark, right? So that's the downside. Yes, it is. Not everyone will have Polish heritage. I don't either. Current EU reality check. Malta citizenship program was closed in 2025. So there is no direct citizenship program in the EU anymore. What's actually available is the Portuguese golden visa, not real estate anymore, and they've extended it to 10 years. We've got Greece at 250,000 real estate, but you could do a bond at 500,000 or an investment fund at 350,000 euros with the Alpha Fund in Greece if you think the real estate is overpriced. And of course, Italy with the investor residency of 250,000 invested in startups or 500,000 in a publicly listed or private company. Europe is actively hostile to citizenship by investment programs. Every EU program is under scrutiny. The trend is towards stricter requirements, longer timelines, as we've seen with Portugal, and higher investments. If you want EU citizenship, expect 7 to 10 year timelines. Actual residency requirements. Portugal is the most flexible, 35 days in 5 years. Language requirements, a must at the end. Integration requirements, higher costs because they're out of budget if you're looking for low budget. Our ultimate alternative to European citizenship, if you're more flexible on budgets, is Serbia, whose program is off radar, no CBI, and you can obtain the passport though without knowing the language or living there. Interesting. Now let's talk about what really matters, because the cheapest program isn't necessarily the best value. Economic stability and growth prospects, right? So let's look at São Tomé and Príncipe. Small country, 220,000, GDP heavily dependent on cocoa and foreign aid. Political stability, relatively moderate. The investment risk is that it's brand new, unproven track record. Currency is Dobra, STN, historically quite volatile. What about Nauru? It's even a smaller country. It's a micro island, 12,000 populations. I know villages that are bigger than that. Economy, it's been very dependent on phosphate mining. It has a lot of climate vulnerability because of that's why it has the climate fund now for its CBI. Investment is moderate to high. Currency is Australian dollar, so major advantage is stability. Caribbean nations, well, St. Kitts program has been since 1984. Good track record. Tourism dependent economy. CBI programs generate 15 to 30% of the government revenues in the Caribbean. They have hurricane exposure. They do have Eastern Caribbean dollars, which is pegged to the USD since 1976. So that creates stability. And then the investment risk is low to moderate, but the issue is you're paying for something that may not have that EU Schengen access. So those prices have not discounted this threat yet. That's why we're a little bit hesitant. Panama, it has a GDP of $76 billion as of 2024. It's a dollarized economy, so since 1904. So the whole economy works on USD. They don't have their own currency. It's strategic location, Panama Canal. Excellent banking sector, consistent GDP growth, 5 to 7% per year, and the investment risk is low. It's the most stable in the region. Bottom line, if you're investing 90 to 200,000, you want to know the country won't collapse in 5 years, Panama is probably the one that has the most stability. The Caribbean islands have had decades of track record, but they're under threat now. São Tomé and Nauru are emerging markets, high risk, but lower entry points. Let's quantify the travel advantages over the decade. Strong global mobility, right? Panama, 156 countries, Caribbean, 141. The value calculation, if you travel internationally 10 times per year and each visa costs $100 to $500, take 2 to 4 weeks to obtain, you save money and time and hassle, right? Regional strength, Nauru, 88 countries in Asia. The value is less on the global mobility, but combined with an EU residency, it can be as good or even better than the Caribbean. São Tomé has limited mobility, mainly African, a little bit Asian countries. It's a niche application, fast, flexible, no interviews. It's good for certain people. Critical question, what matters most, having 156 countries or having the right countries for your needs? If you're doing business primarily in Asia and UK, Nauru is excellent. São Tomé maybe for Africa. And of course, if you're looking for value in the long term, Panama. Because again, it's not even a donation. It's a tangible real estate that you own and will make an ROI of anywhere from 6 to 8%. At least gross can easily be 8%. Net, bare minimum 5%. The future trend, passport power is becoming more important, folks, not less. With the EU's entry-exit system, EES, launching this month, basically. It was supposed to launch sooner, but they delayed that. With biometric registration requirements for non-EU citizens, having strong visa-free access may become more valuable as time goes on. Tax benefits, wealth preservation. This is where the long-term value really compounds, right? Caribbean nations have territorial tax systems, and Panama as well. If you don't earn money in that country, you're not paying taxes. Real world examples. Let's say you're a digital entrepreneur earning 200,000, 300,000 per year from international clients. A high tax country, 45%, you're paying 90,000 annually. Over 20 years, you're paying $1.8 million. Are you getting value from your government? In Caribbean or Panama or Nauru, and then you live in Dubai or somewhere, let's say you've got a Nauru and you're living in Panama, who knows? You're paying zero on your international income. You save 1.8 million in 20 years. Wow, that sounds like a retirement fund. Even after accounting for the 200,000 initial investment, which is also real estate in Panama, so you're not actually giving it up. That's an asset you can liquidate later. You're ahead still, way ahead. Wealth tax avoidance, not avoidance, I guess optimization. Many countries, Spain, Switzerland, Norway, tax worldwide assets. Caribbean nations, Nauru, Panama, don't. Inheritance tax, again, asset protection, corporate structures, these are all advantages. You got to keep in mind, in 2025, the OECD's new agreement now adds real estate to the global web of tax data covering bank accounts and cryptocurrency. Transparency is increasing, which means proper tax planning is even more and more important. And you've got to look at you got to look at the math, folks. That's the key. You got to look at the critical pitfalls. What are the risks? With all the political risk, the policy changes, program announcements, you got to be very careful what you're doing. And there's a lot of hidden costs: application fees, passport fees, national ID fees, maintenance costs, closing costs, legal fees, documentation, apostling. So make sure you know what all the costs are. Ask for a full turnkey package costing, right? The programs are evolving. Caribbean prices have increased and they're now losing access to EU maybe. Malta program closed. Vanuatu was banned in 2024. Portugal extended its citizenship and closed its real estate in 2023. And 2025, they've made it a 10-year citizenship pathway. My God. Spain paused its golden visa in April 2025. 100% tax on property purchases for non-residents in Spain in 2005. Look at the trend, the pattern. When programs come under political pressure, change happens fast. The Caribbean's 30-day physical presence proposal dropped suddenly in July 2025. The EU visa suspension could happen within months of final approval. Portugal's changing. Malta was shut down. You've got to have protection strategies. Diversify, monitor geopolitical developments, work with offices that can keep you informed and of the risks. There's no program that's perfect. Consider applying within those windows of opportunities. Make an informed decision, right? You got to look at your budget, your priority. Is it global mobility? Is it tax? What is it? Okay. Tax optimization, faster processing, maybe you don't want to wait for 12 months to get a citizenship or 5 years, or lower risk, more established. So you're willing to wait. Maybe a path to a powerful passport. You don't want a lower cost passport in a month or 2 or 6 or 8. You want something like Panama, maybe Portugal, maybe Serbia. Trade-offs, longer timeline, but patient investors always win. Remember, smarter investors in 2025 and 2026 are thinking about citizenship like an investment portfolio. Your backup citizenship. Boom, Nauru maybe, Caribbean, quick, easy. Your tax optimization citizenship, that could be Caribbean as well, or Panama. Your premium citizenship could be Portugal, could be Serbia, could be Austria, a little bit higher end. Strategy examples we can provide for you based on your specific profile. Okay, what's the next step? Self-assessment. Look at your priorities. Do some research, please. Consult with some people who know what they're doing. It doesn't have to be me, but I'm just telling you, just make sure they know what they're talking about. Tax and legal planning with your tax advisor in your home country and then our network destination countries. And then decide on timeline to apply and then continue to monitor. Those are the things. We're going to see more trends, increased regulatory pressure, EU, US, OECD common reporting standards. We're talking hardcore, folks. If you like paying taxes, this is not the channel for you. If you like to optimize your taxes, that's the channel. Programs will become more expensive, the high value ones, the good ones, and then there'll be more cheaper options. And processing times will increase, scrutiny will increase, right? Keep in mind, climate-focused programs, there's a lot of donations going on. And of course, technology integration. Crypto is now being accepted for Nauru as well as proof of funds, right? There's AI-powered due diligence going on, digital identity, online interviews, biometrics, EU's exit system, EES. The world is digitizing, the residency citizenship world. And again, there's more risk that you need to identify. Therefore, the choice you make is very important. The cheapest citizenship is not necessarily the one with the lowest price tag. That's the whole point. It's the one that delivers the most value aligned with your specific long-term goals and has the least political pressure. Okay, folks? Calculate your ROI. Peace of mind, freedom of movement, tax optimization, options for your children, grandchildren, and maybe parents, protection against political instability, business opportunities, maybe quality of life in some of these countries. Do you think the country you're living in right now has the best healthcare or maybe the lowest crime rate? Food for thought. There's a lot of objections out there to people. They say, I don't want to give up my current citizenship. You don't have to, right? Well, except some countries, China, India, Japan, Singapore, Indonesia, Austria. There's some exceptions, but again. Objection 2, this sounds like a scam. No, there are scams. There are also legitimate programs, like everything else in the world. You got to do your homework and do your due diligence. Or the other objection, I can't afford this. Fair, not everyone can, but if you can't afford 90,000 or 110,000, then I'm not going to tell you to change the channel. No. What that means is you're probably working hard, but you're probably paying taxes, higher taxes, and can't afford this. Or maybe the cost of living is high where you live. That's the reason, right? And of course, objection 4, why would I want a citizenship in a tiny or some other country I've never heard of? Because it's not about living there. It's about those options and those flexibilities. Think of it like an insurance. You don't buy fire insurance because you want your house to burn down. You buy it in case it does. Second, citizenship is insurance against political, travel upheaval, restrictions that can come and go like COVID, banking access issues, financial footprints, tax optimization, business opportunities, future generations who want more options such as education, health, right? Maybe in the jurisdiction you're in, education is costly or difficult, or they won't have as many options in the future, right? Objection 5, won't this make me a tax evader? No. Only if you evade taxes are you a tax evader. Having a second citizenship does not exempt you from tax obligations in the country you reside in, unless you reside in a country that doesn't tax you on your global income, right? U.S. citizens pay taxes on worldwide income regardless of residency. That's why a lot of them renounce their citizenship for another passport, like Serbian. But many people don't have the same problems as Americans. Most other countries tax based on residency, not citizenship. Simply holding a second passport doesn't change your tax obligations. My family holds 3 passports, but we only pay taxes in one place. To legally benefit from tax optimization, formally change your tax residency, comply with exit tax requirements in your home country, meet residency requirements in the new jurisdiction you're planning to go, report all foreign accounts and income, and work with international tax advisors. And if you don't know, well, we've got them. What is illegal is getting second passports, keeping primary residency in business in high tax country, and hiding income. That we don't condone. Legal is moving to a zero tax country, establishing genuine residency there, properly reporting everything, paying exit taxes if required, and then optimizing and lowering your future taxes because you just moved. Don't confuse tax optimization with tax evasion. One is smart planning, the other is kind of like, you're running away from the law. All right, we've covered a lot of information. Here's what you should do next. Assess your situation, right? Current citizenship strengths, weaknesses, your travel patterns, your goals, your budget, timeline, family situation, inclusion, and tax circumstances. Educate yourself. The programs out there on the government websites, okay? That's very important. You got to if you don't know where to find them, let me know. Happy to send you links, okay? Check out Reddit as well. Consult with professionals if you choose to. There's many out there like us who have relationships with tax professionals, developers. And of course, we've got the legal teams around the world to help you achieve those goals. And we are licensed agents for some of these jurisdictions. And of course, you can book a consultation or just reach out, 60 seconds, give us your details. We can get on a call, talk details, monitor the situation. Either subscribe to our channel, put Google alerts. I do that all the time. Follow relevant news sources. But again, stay away from just the mimicky stuff, the marketing gimmicks, because you need to know the risks. We report the risks. Other channels are kind of like, no, let's not give the people the bad news. And that's what we do best. Consider your timing and your budget. Let's do it. Okay? Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back here next Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got a bunch of questions that we're willing to, of course, we're here to answer, and comments. And of course, it can be any program that we're covering. It doesn't have to be on Nauru. It doesn't have to be on Portugal or Panama. It doesn't have to be on Dubai. It can be on Canada or New Zealand or Italy or Bulgaria or Greece or Cyprus. So we've got Samvir Kumar 5285. Hello, Reza. What is the option we have now for Canadian Startup Visa Canada? They reduced the quota for SUV to 500. Yeah. And that's going back to the point I just mentioned. Our audience members are asking about Canadian Startup Visa Program, which is a federal PR-based program. And that's what we say when we give bad news on this channel. A lot of these other people are calling us out saying, oh, no, that's like fear-mongering, right? You are showing... hold on, folks. I think my battery is dying. Hold on. Oh, sorry about that. But no, we got to report the real news, the threat, the risk. It's kind of like investing in a stock or a Bitcoin or crypto or any company, and you don't have that transparency of what could potentially happen. So what I tell people with the Caribbean islands is like, you're investing in a company that is under investigation by government for non-compliance or tax evasion, perhaps, right? Would you still be investing in that stock on the stock market? No. That's why we report the truth. And we reported the truth about Startup Visa. Probably the first. Maybe not the first. But we got a big pushback from the community. Samvir, you're there. You know what I'm talking about. But folks, people are waking up now. Okay? Nasrin Ebrahimi says, Rosita, hello, Reza June. Hello back, Rosita. Safa Saleh. Hi, Reza. SUV processing reached 10 years and 10,000 ahead of me. It seems that RCC will close it, especially with Bill C-212. Do you agree? I heard that the quote of SUV is 500 a year. It's a joke, isn't it? Safa, I agree with you. So here's a few facts, folks. The IRCC processing time that shows 10 years maxes out at 10 years. It's not actually 10 years. That's the first fact. Second, yes, the report has come out by, the budget, the 2026 budget and so on, which also includes immigration targets. And the Prime Minister has announced it. But more importantly, Samvir, please let the WhatsApp group people know. And Safa, if you're in that WhatsApp group or anyone in that international startup visa WhatsApp group for Canada, let them know. We expect a major SUV program announcement change between November 13th to November 21st. Okay, folks, my battery's dying. Give me 1 second. Sorry, this is like the worst thing you can do on the live stream. Hold on. Sorry. This is like bad. This is like bad preparation. I'm really sorry. There was a cable disconnected. Yeah, this is like those YouTube bloopers you sometimes see. Okay, there is a major SUV program change. Samveer, Safa, please spread the word. A major SUV program announcement change coming November 13th to 21st, a Thursday or Friday. It's coming. Please wait. Before anyone makes any decisions or just says, no, forget it, or this is a joke. Well, it is a joke, like the whole processing time. But wait to those for that announcement. We will understand, Safa, what's happening. Samveer, the WhatsApp group that hates me, and everyone else in the shadows. Okay? Let's do it, folks. Let's do it. If you have questions or comments on any of the programs we cover, well, it's tax residencies, flat tax regimes, golden visas, passports, residency to passport without living, or citizenship by investment, we'd be happy to answer those questions next Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Hope for good news. Samveer, there's no good news coming out of Canada. Whew, it is not. Negar Mozaffari, do you have a WhatsApp group? No, Negar, I don't. I'm just talking about Samveer's, because there's a big international startup visa WhatsApp group. You can probably search for it and find it. And everyone who is a startup visa applicant is in that group. They don't allow agencies or consultants or lawyers, right? So that's the WhatsApp group I'm talking about. So you should join that group because they share information. It's a community, right? We give the bad news and the good news and both types of news. But that WhatsApp group, maybe you should connect. Search online because I'm not in that group, but you can find it. Yeah, folks, I know everyone's looking for more news. Wait till November 13th to 21st. Between those dates, around those dates, inclusive 13 to 20, you will see Canada Startup Visa program announcement changes. So whatever it is, bad or good, that's when you should make decisions. Folks, if you like the truth, press the like button on your screen, on your mobile. If you don't like the truth, do not press the like button. Okay? Do not press the like button if you don't like the truth. Oh, I see. Anyway, I like your glasses. You look good. No, thanks, Negar. Appreciate the compliment. Thanks for the like, folks. We'll see you next week. Again, sometimes we talk about startup visa again later this month because when the big announcement comes in, and we're talking about some flat tax regimes. We're going to talk about Malta. We're going to talk about Panama. We're going to talk about EB5 US. There's a lot to cover, right? Because if you are doing Canada startup visa, and especially if you're in a non-priority, you need plan B. Do you have plan B ready? And I know Samveer, your little group called me out on this, but it's tough. You need to have a plan B ready. Okay? Just waiting for the sake of waiting, that's not a plan. Folks, see you next week. Thank you for joining us. Negar, Samveer, Safa Saleh, Rosita, and the people in the shadows who are monitoring us but not coming forward with any questions or comments. We love you all. Doesn't matter who it is. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks, SK999.